Hi everyone, my name is Taya, and I am jumping on today to do my first, I guess it's a podcast type energy to it. I was listening to a podcast and it was just coming through so strong that it is my time to get on and share my voice. And I was like, okay, I need preparation. I need to do this. I need to do this. And it was like, no, no, no. Just get on straight away. You do not need preparation. It is about being raw, authentic, um, and also like a channeled experience of whatever needs to come through will come through. And whoever this reaches, it's always for a reason, and the person who is listening to this is going to get something out of it. Even if they realize it straight away or whether it makes sense later, and it might only be one little pocket of information that just is like an aha moment for them. But I'm just getting so called to share and spread that voice. But yeah, I was, always too nervous, too scared. Who am I to do that? What do I know? How can I help people? Everyone knows better than me. Everyone's better than me. Like, there's so many things that could stop me, but the energy is just get on, be raw, be authentic, and trust what needs to come up. So I have no idea what we're going to speak of. But in saying that, as I was kind of tuning in, it was about sharing a little bit of my journey and what has led me to the point of, who I am today, where I'm sitting, and who I am and what I do as a human experience. So I guess I want to go back to the start. And I'm going to start when I had my spiritual awakening. So for me, this was around, I want to say around COVID. It was around 2020, 2021. I think COVID was the catalyst for a lot of people awakening. And I'm just putting it out there. Everything that I say is my opinion, my energy, my take on things. It does not mean it's right. This is my interpretation. But for me, COVID was a catalyst of a lot of people having their spiritual awakening. And it really shook the world up in a way that made people create new foundations for themselves. And again, this is how it affected me. So this is what I can speak on and what I can share. So yes, it was chaotic. Yes, it caused a lot of trauma and a lot of grief for a lot of people. But also from a different perspective, it was a necessary shake up of the human energy to make us sit back and look at our life and our life as a community, as an individual, in a family, in a world. Like, what are we doing and why? So for me, yeah, I was already, I guess, at a low point in my mental health. I want to say mental health. I was at a low point in my mental health. And then COVID came and it shook things up even further for me. And when you have that spiritual awakening, you just like your mind starts thinking in a different manner. And I started questioning everything. And I feel like that is generally the first step of a spiritual awakening. It's like, hang on, what is going on here? So, yeah, for me, that is when my spiritual awakening started. But also, on the background of that, I was a young mum of 3 young kids. I had 3 kids under 4.5 years. And again, I go back to my mental health. I just was not coping mentally. I feel like I was struggling with my health. I was struggling with the energy of being a mother. It really brought up a lot of my inner core wounds from a child, which I didn't even realize that I had to acknowledge. And maybe that's why I get triggered by my children's behavior and certain elements of motherhood and the foundations of what it means to be a mum and how to show up in that way. So that was really, really big for me. And I guess it came out in the way of depression type symptoms. Anxiety really took over my energy field. I struggled with everyday life activities like grocery shopping, taking the kids to childcare. Like, I think my nervous system just went into this complete overload, and I didn't know how to get myself out of that. And I I am a Capricorn. I'm going to start with I'm a Capricorn. I'm very logical minded. Um, and my beautiful sister, she's a Capricorn. I'm not a Capricorn. She is a Cancer. And she had always been a little bit more spiritually open than me. And she suggested that I go into trying energy healing. I did not know what it was. I did not understand what it was. I never knew anyone that had ever done energy healing. Um, it was completely new to me, but I was also at that point that I knew something deep within me needed to shift, needed to change, and on a core level. Like, I'm a registered nurse as well. I studied nursing as a career after school, and that was absolutely a necessary path that I had to take. I will speak on that a little bit later in all these different foundational skills I have has led me to where I am. Um, and I know and I believe in Western medicine and different interventions that can have a positive effect for people, and how different medications can be supportive for people. But for me, I didn't want to go down the route of taking anti-anxiety medications or antidepressant medications. For me, I always had this thought in my mind of, but why? People, I'm not just depressed. I don't just have anxiety. Why? There's got to be a root cause as to why. And that still fascinates me to this day. And that is the core of a lot of the energy healing work that I do now, because I believe in that deeper root cause. I don't just believe that we have these mental health issues. I don't just believe that we have this chronic back pain that no one can support us with. I'm like, where did it come from? What is underlying it? So that still really fascinates me, and I guess has driven me to where I am. But getting back on track now. So yes, energy healing. I was willing to give it a go, but also in the same breath, so closed minded, so skeptical. Like, I didn't really know how to interpret it and how to take it. And I remember having my first energy healing, and it moves something so deep in me that you can't even put into words. And there's no denying that energy, there's no denying that experience. There's no denying that shift that you feel. There's no denying the person on the other end that is the healer, of how they know things, and how they get this information. Like, I remember walking away so mind blown, but also skeptical at the same time. And it just one session, shifted something so deep in me, and I'm like, wow, what is this? How, what, why, when? And then, I go down the rabbit hole of like all the research because I want to understand it on more of a foundational, logical sense as well. But there was no denying how real it felt for me and how much it made sense, how much it made sense. Like, how can someone know my wound from an inner child? How can someone know my ancestral story? Like, just to have that knowing, I was so intrigued about how they knew that. And I could feel the energy shifting within me. So, just from that first session, I was like mind boggled, confused, skeptical, like all at the same time. Um, and it did take me a lot to process. And I've been reflecting back lately of how much of a closed book I was. Like, the healer's trying to speak to me, and I'm like, yep, yep. Like, they did not get anything from me. I did not give them any information. I did not give them any, like, feedback of how it was because I was just a very closed, very protected individual. And I remember it was just like, the conversation was like, yep, yep, okay, thank you. And like, that was it. But then when I walk away, then I have that deep inner reflection. Um, so yeah, I went back to that healer a handful of times. This was remote. It was over the phone. It was done remotely, but it was enough that I wanted to go back and understand more, even though I didn't fully know and understand, or I want to say even believe. Like, subconsciously, deep down, obviously I did, but consciously there was still a belief, skeptical block. But something within me, like, I kept going back. I guess I wanted shift, I wanted change, and it intrigued me on such a deep level. So that was that experience. And then I felt something within me and was like, I need to go and find a healer face to face. And for some whatever reason, with my insecurities and my lack of confidence and my lack of self-worth, all the other things that I had going on, I was so scared to go to someone face to face because I'm like, they're gonna know my shit. They're gonna, they're gonna judge me. They're gonna think, oh my god, this person's a mess. And I just like remember googling it, and I found a healer close by to me. This is when we're living in Adelaide, and I went to my first face to face, and again, like, just a different level of mind blown. I'm like, wow, okay. And this was a different type of energy healing modality. And again, I was just mind blown, fascinated. I could feel the shifts happening within me, and but I knew I had to be consistent. Like, I would love big results straight away, but I also knew I had to be consistent with my healing. We then moved back to Port Lincoln, and I did remote sessions with this lady. It would be 18, I reckon it was about 18 months. I was doing regular sessions every 2 to 4 weeks. So a lot of inner healing that I did on myself. And just through those experiences, it widened my spiritual awakening, it widened my belief, it widened my perspective of energy healing and the effects and the realness of it all. And this lady really opened up the perspective to me that I am a sensitive soul, and everything that I'm feeling is not always mine. I might be picking up on the collective energy, the people's energy of the room, and it just, I always want to cry just thinking of it because it was such a deep relief. I'm like just clicked. I'm like, wow, everything is making so much more sense of who I am as a person, and understanding myself on such a deeper layer. And it was like almost like a sigh of relief of, oh my god, like, yes, that is me. That makes so much sense. And it was just a huge aha moment. So just to have that acknowledgement, it was like, wow, okay, it's so much more bigger than just me. And how all our energy is interconnected. And I also just want to mention that this particular healer also just taught me the foundations of what being grounded means and being present with myself and meditating. Like, this is a quick little tangent, but meditating for me was huge. I was that overthinking, overactive ADHD mind. I could not go to sleep at night. You know, thinking back to when I was 17 of, oh, why did I do that? Why did I say that? Oh my God, that person hates me. And then like unraveling the day of work, oh my God, that person's going to think that I'm not a good worker. I left that undone. Like just that crazy, crazy overthinking mind. And through regular meditation, I have been able to soften and slow that. Naturally, still have an overthinking mind, but in those moments, like when it becomes the sleep time now, I can shut down and switch off so much more easily. So that's another little area that I had to honor, had to develop. It was not comfortable, it was not easy, and it was hard work to really get into that state of mind of I can meditate and doing it regularly. So I just started small. I remember just starting 5 minutes every day, building up, building up, building up. And then this lady also taught me, this healer also taught me about manifesting, which was such a new concept to me too. I was just like so mind blown by it all. So she taught me, like, you know, the little foundations of manifesting and our intention and how strong our intention is in way of creating our reality, creating our future, and our mood and our energy. So yeah, I'm just like having a little bit of gratitude for this beautiful healer. And I probably should reach out and share this to her because I probably never have on this deep level. But and I'm just having this reflection now. Again, it's just coming through as I need it, but I'm just having this reflection of how pivotal that was for me and how big that was for me. Even in the moment, it probably didn't feel big to me. I probably didn't realize how much it was helping me because I was in quite a deep, dark, mental, emotional place that I probably didn't realize it was helping on such a deep level. But now when I can sit back and I can see how far I've come and I can go back and reflect on that, I'm like, yeah, yeah, okay, that's all I needed to know and hear in that moment. Okay, I'm just getting called to kind of take it back a step. So this was all happening at the same time as kind of the energy of COVID. Internally, I wasn't happy with my job, where I was, where we were living. I just didn't feel in alignment with me anymore. And I was nursing at a private hospital in the city, just part time because I had young kids. And I'd just get so anxious every time I went to work. And then I'd come home absolutely spent, no energy in the tank, and then questioning everything that I did. And the anxiety would just build up even further. And beside one really beautiful friend in Adelaide, she knows who she is, but there was not much family support in that space with 3 young kids, and I just was craving that family connection, that friendship connection, and I knew that there had to be a shift in job, in living location, um, and I was manifesting for a while to move to Port Lincoln. I've got that many journals of just me manifesting, writing, and I, I have to share this. And I've said to my hubby, if something ever happens to me, I want you to get all my journals, all my diaries, and chuck them straight on the fire. You never read them. No one ever reads them because people think I'm batshit crazy. But it was just a manifesting of I live in Port Lincoln. There's this sense of freedom, of ease, of happiness, um, like just manifesting that energy. And I couldn't even tell you how long it was before that shift took place. Yeah, I'm trying to reflect on that now. maybe 6 to 12 months. Like, not a long time, but it feels long when you're in those moments. Um, but then my hubby also then, after that time, had that bit of change of brainwave, and he was like, all right, yeah, I'm ready. Let's go to Port Lincoln. As soon as he decided that, of course, a job opened up for him in Port Lincoln, and then it all happened very quickly. So we moved to Port Lincoln. I did not have a job. My youngest son was only 1 at this point, so I was kind of on maternity leave from my other job as well. And I was like, okay, what do I want to do? And also, we were living with my mother-in-law. We did not have a house yet, and I was like, where do we want to live? So again, back to my manifesting. We want a bit of land. We want to be self-sufficient. You know, we want this, 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 this. 4 months later, dream home is living here, and it's like, yeah, that's exactly what I had in my mind. And then when it came to a job, I was like, I didn't know exactly what I wanted, but I knew the energy of what I wanted. I wanted a job that surrounded me with beautiful people. I didn't want conflict. I didn't want ego. I wanted just a beautiful environment, beautiful boss, beautiful energy, a sense of freedom. I wanted more school based hours. I did not want to be in a hospital environment again right now. And then yeah, within a couple of months I had got my job as a melanographer, mole mapping, skin checks, which yeah, I absolutely love that. And it's everything that I could have asked for, and I did ask for, in way of boss, people I work with, the like just the absolute ease of it all. It's such a beautiful space to be working in, and I'm so grateful that I have that. So that was all bubbling along. And as I mentioned earlier, my sister is quite spiritual and very intuitive and such a beautiful, beautiful soul. And I'm not even sure how it came about, but we both decided to do our Reiki certificate. This is after me of doing years and years of healing. It was like, let's do our Reiki. So we found someone in Port Lincoln. We both did our Reiki certificate. We did Reiki 1 and 2, and I did enjoy it, but I must admit it didn't completely resonate with me straight away. But I took it away. I practiced on myself. I practiced on others. And I enjoyed doing it for myself and my family, but it wasn't something that I had the confidence or more confidence to like go out and offer that to the world. It just wasn't something, like, it wasn't clicking for me with that logic and spiritual component. It just wasn't clicking to me. So that was good. We had that. And then that beautiful healer that I was talking about earlier, that I went to see in Adelaide as a face-to-face, her modality was theta healing. And she offers that as a modality to teach. And my sister had also gone to her, and we loved her energy so much. And we're like, let's go do this course. So we went over to Adelaide for a weekend. We done a theta practitioner course, and we got certified. And again, I loved it, and I took a lot out of it, but for me it just wasn't clicking in me delivering that, and to me offering that to people. So that kind of just sat there for a little while, and then Reiki sat there for a little while. In the meantime, I was still kind of reaching out and having my own healings done. And then I was scrolling on TikTok, and I must have got on like the healing side of TikTok, you know, when people are doing tarot card readings and Reiki. And then I seen this lady that was doing emotion code. Never heard of it before. had no idea what she was doing. I was just watching and I was just listening, and something was just like, I was just wowed by it on such a different level. And then she did live reading. So I paid and had a live reading, and I was just like, oh, what is this? Like, she knew the emotion that I was feeling, the age, and then I could feel it release. And it was just, again, it just made sense to me. It was a lot more matter of fact, and it was a lot more simple. And I just was like, wow, I love this. And I could feel the shift instantly. So I had a few sessions with her, and then, of course, my research mind, I started looking it up, emotion code, come across heart wall healing, which is part of the emotion code. I then found a practitioner within Australia that worked on a heart wall, so I had some remote heart wall sessions done, and again, like, that was huge. That was huge for me, and I think without clearing that heart wall for myself, I wouldn't have even considered doing what I do today. I think that really opened so much up for me. And I'm getting heart will be another episode. But yeah, I had my heart will released. And then just one day I just got this message, this intuition, you have to learn the emotion code. But first I got the book. So I ordered the book. I'm trying to think. I must have audio booked it. I was listening. And as I'm reading this book, I'm just like, yeah. And I'm not a big reader. It has to really resonate. It has to really hit for me to absorb and like take it all in. But and to comprehend, it takes me a while to comprehend things until it does, and it's like, yep, that makes sense. But it landed with me, and I comprehended it, and it made sense to me. So I read this whole book. Within the book, it teaches you how to do it. It teaches you the steps. So I was just practicing on myself. I was practicing on my family, and it was just like, wow, 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 wow. Like the results for me, the results for my family. And then it was like, okay, you got to do the course. So I did the course, and then I started practicing on friends. And again, they were just like, everyone was mind boggled by like the accuracy of it, the simplicity of it, and then how like the energy shift is huge. And throughout all this, like I'm just like I'm scared. Like I am not an innately confident. I'm very insecure. Well, I was. I'm gonna say I was. I've worked through that to a certain extent. And it was every little thing I've done is like pushing, pushing, pushing outside that comfort zone. So I got certified in the emotion code, and I was like, you need to start offering this. And I just had a brave moment, and I had brain clarity. I created a website. I started putting bookings just up on my Instagram. I created an Instagram. I'm getting called to speak about that. Creating my Instagram and deciding to step out as an energy healer was huge, because it's not something everyone understands, and it is attached to a lot of stigma and a lot of judgment. And I am one of those people that I'm saying that word had a lot of fear of judgment, a lot of fear what people think, a lot of fear of how it will be perceived. And I actually remember I got like two beautiful, beautiful friends, and I think their opinion and the way they received it was the most important thing to me. And I remember sitting them down, and I remember saying, I'm getting emotional speaking of this, but I remember like just saying to them, like, I've been doing this training, and I'm going to start a business, and I'm going to share this with the world. And I was so scared of their reaction and what they would say, what they would think. And they were just like so supportive, so responsive. And like, I think I could just like take a breath, and I was just, yeah, so grateful for that response. And what I also want to say with this is, naturally I read energy, even though I didn't understand it so much at this time. And it was a real genuine response. It wasn't like oh yeah, of course I'm happy with you, and then like walk away and feel something different. It felt really warm, really genuine. And I also want to say on the back of this, in that, like, my sister is spiritually open, my brother is quite spiritually open, who has done energy healing as well. My mum has always been very open in that manner, even though I used to judge it and did not believe, and used to, yeah, have a lot of judgment towards her. So I guess I'm very lucky in that sense that I had family that were open and supportive, and now I've got the support of my friendship group. And I also want to say, like, my hubby, like, he is not a spiritual person per se. He's very he's very grounded, um, and he's very secure in who he is. He's amazing. But the whole time, I have had nothing but his utmost support. Even though he doesn't particularly understand it, he's happy to let me practice on him. He's happy to let me do a healing. And, I'm like, do you care what people say and think? He's like, nah, like that does not bother him at all. And I think that also lifts me up, and that gives me confidence of, like, if he can stand strong in, like, my wife is an energy healer, there's so much support in that foundation. So I think this podcast, I don't even know if you can call it a podcast, this speaking of this is actually giving me a great reflection of all this, because it's like, yeah, just to sit and to have all that support, I was very, very lucky. But it was still huge to put my first, like, open up my Instagram business page and put my first post out there, because how is it going to be perceived? What are people going to think of me? It was a huge, huge, huge step for me. And, the anxiety was real, the contraction was real. And I was just like, again, I'm having a huge emotional reflection of, like, the way it was received was just beautiful. I grew up in a small country town, and even though you might not be close to all these people, like, to this day, there's still that, like, country connection, right? And I think that was also my fear of how that community would respond and think of me. And again, I feel like the reception and the acceptance and the support was, like, beyond what I could have ever imagined. And it was like, okay, I'm doing this. There's no turning back now. I am doing this. And I remember putting up, like, my sessions, like, $50. $50, let's have a session. And, like, the people that reached out to me, which I probably wouldn't have ever even thought were open to it or spiritual, was like, wow, there's a lot more people open to this world than I even knew and would imagine. And it just kept, like, from that point, it just kept building, because the results were coming in, and the way people were feeling and the shifting and the accuracy, it was mind blowing me, it was mind blowing the people, and it just built on that. And I was only doing remote sessions emailed, so not even Zoom, just emailed, because I was scared, to be honest. Like to get onto Zoom live scared the absolute shit out of me. To have someone live in my room trying to do it, like, again, I was just fear of the judgment, and what if I'm wrong, and what if they don't hear what I want, like what they want to hear, um, was huge. So I just done emailed sessions for a while until I grew that confidence. And I remember this one beautiful person, and again, they will know who they are. I didn't know them, but they had come across my Instagram. They had resonated with my energy, and they had reached out to me and asked, "Will I would love to do an in-person session." And I got that, and I'm like, "Oh, I can't. No, I can't do an in-person session. No way. I'm not good enough. I'm not prepared enough. My room's not ready. I can't." And I just took some deep breaths, and I had one brave moment of writing back and saying, yep, perfect, let's organize it. My room's not completely ready, but if you're happy, um, come in. Because at this point of time, like financially, we did not have a lot of money. We were just like month to month type thing. So I didn't have all the, you know, all the things. And she was like, yep, let's do it. And yeah, I remember I was so nervous, so scared. But she came in and it was beautiful, and I loved it. She loved it, and she's been back like multiple times. And it was like, okay, well, you know what? You've ripped that band-aid off. You can do in-person sessions. So then I opened that up one by one. You know, like each time the confidence grows, the nerves are still there, but you do it. And yeah, I'm so grateful that I pushed past that comfort zone, because now in-person sessions are my favorite space to hold. Like there's nothing more nurturing than having that person in front of you and to hold space and to support through those tears and those traumas, and yeah, all the different things. But I'm actually getting drawn to just backpedal a little bit and speak a little bit about the emotion code. Yeah, I was wondering if it would be a different episode, but I'm getting called to talk about the emotion code and why it resonated with me and why I love it so much. So, the emotion code is my main modality. I now infuse intuitive energy healing to everything that I've done, because, you know, as you keep pushing, as you keep attuning, as you keep growing, my senses, my gifts, my skills have opened up and expanded like tenfold, like amazing. But for the emotion code, to me, it was very much a the process to me felt really simple. It was very matter of fact in like the muscle testing in, okay, I can tell them how old they were, I can tell them what emotion it was, and it's a lot more specific, which I personally like, versus a little bit more general. I really like the specific nature of it. I also loved that the client does not have to talk, because to me, when I go to a session, I don't want to have to untalk. I don't want to have to talk. I don't want to have to unpack my stuff in that way. I just want to be like supported, acknowledged, move on and clear it. So that's what resonated for me, in that clients can come in, they can talk as much as they want, or like no talking. Let's like, here's the emotion, here's how old you were, here's where it came from, and let's release it. And it was just the fact that muscle testing, and I'm getting there will have to be another episode on the emotion code, because it's very general, this talk, and it doesn't go into the specifics of the muscle testing and everything. But for me, the muscle testing is very what's that word I'm looking for? Help me. Reassuring, and it makes sense versus just trying to tap into the intuition. It's very matter of fact. I guess that's the word I'm looking for. It's very matter of fact, and especially once you practice and you get it right, there's just no denying the energy of the muscle testing. Um, yeah, I guess I just love that it's very simple, but also it feels so powerful at the same time. When you clear that emotion, it's like bam, you can feel it, you can sense it, you know it, it's gone. So yeah, I am getting that I will talk more on emotion code in a separate session, because we can go deeper into what kind of emotions that we can release in way of past life, inherited, and why would we want to release trapped emotions, and how it affects us in way of triggers, symptoms. Like that's a whole other thing. Um, so yeah, I guess that's the breakdown of my journey and where I am today. And it hasn't been easy. in the way that I've really had to push past my fear, my comfort zone, trusting myself, trusting my intuition, believing in myself, believing my intuition, believing in a greater energy out there for that support as well. And yeah, everything that I've gone through, everything has led me to exactly where I am today. Um, that's another episode actually. That'll be another episode in reflecting on my inner child trauma, reflecting on my adolescence, reflecting on early motherhood, and health issues that I've had, or mental health issues, and how that has all encapsulated and also got me where I am today. Um, I just want to see if there's anything else coming through that I need to share. I'm kind of just getting called to give out a shout out to the emotion code. And if anyone's listening that has had sessions with me that has resonated like the way I did, like, don't hesitate to pick up the emotion code book and read it. And if that's resonating, don't hesitate to practice your own muscle testing. Don't hesitate to know that you have the power to also support yourself in that space as well. So yeah, I believe everyone can do it. I would have never ever thought that I would be able to read energy, that I would ever have such a strong intuition, that I'd ever be so claircognizant, clairsentient. Like, if you told me 5 years ago I would be able to read someone's energy from the other side of the world and know where their ball of grief is sitting, and know that they've got a sore right hip from the other side of the earth, I would have said you're just crazy. Like, no way on earth did I ever imagine that I would be able to do what I do. I haven't always had that skill, but I'm also getting shared, in hindsight, it makes sense that I've always been a sensitive soul. I've always been hyper vigilant to other energy and other people's moods, even though I didn't understand it on the level that I do today. So yeah, there's a sensitive, empathic nature that's always been within me, but now I've been able to really hone that into using it in a way that I can to support people and be in this space. And I also just want to share that I'm in this space because I want people to feel good. Like, that's essentially my passion. Like, this is a life experience. I don't want people walking around feeling miserable, feeling sad, feeling lonely, feeling helpless, feeling hopeless, feeling depressed, feeling anxious. Like, to me, that is not a way of living, and I don't believe that we have to live that way. I believe that energetically we can shift energy to support all those different things. Um, even physical ugh, even physical pain, I believe there's an emotional component. Sometimes there's lots of other things going on, but I truly believe that energetically, emotions, stress, trauma cause a lot of imbalances, frequency, energy flow within your body. And when you can address that, you can change your perspective. And it is about changing your perspective, and that you can create your reality with changing your mindset, your thoughts. Like, oh my god, I could just go on forever. It's so deep, but I feel like that is going to be the essence for another session as well. But um, yeah, just getting back to that is why I do this. I hate seeing people in pain. I hate seeing people struggle. And I just want everyone to feel good. I just want everyone to be happy, everyone to be uplifted, and everyone to live their best life and enjoy their best life. Like, I was going to say we're only here once, which I believe is not a fact. I believe that we've had multiple lives, but in this lifetime, why can we not live our best absolute life? Like, there's nothing stopping us except ourselves and our mind and our beliefs, and our conditionings. Again, I could go on and on, but yeah, and um, I want to say a lot of people resonate with me that have been through similar things, like that mother wound, motherhood wounds as a mother. Um, Hormonally, I do attract a lot of people that resonate with my hormonal stuff that I've shared and the struggles that I've gone through. So women are my number one client, but in saying that, I love to work with children. I love to work with children's energy. Like men need nourishing, they need support, they need to be able to release. Um, like I have no bias of doing sessions for anyone, because I believe everyone can benefit and everyone has the right to clear suppressed emotions, suppressed energy. Yeah, I mean, if I could help everyone in the world, I absolutely would. But it's, yeah, just one person at a time and let that ripple effect out into the universe. Okay, is that all today? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Beautiful. I am going to leave it at that. I'm not going to edit. I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to trust this will reach whoever it needs to, and you'll get whatever you need to out of this episode, talk, whatever it's called. Thanks, guys. Bye.